All right, let's just briefly commence class. Did you guys, I mean, watch the video which I've uploaded from last week's recordings, the last one, before you do the assignments? Did anyone of you find the videos helpful, the same run through? Or didn't you?
I
None of
I
you
I,
watched?
I tried to follow it, but then it's a bit difficult on my side because my knowledge sucks.
So do we have the Thursday one? Or did I miss it out?
Didn't I upload it? I had to check, did I upload it or not? If I haven't, then I'm sorry, that's my bad. Then I will double check now after this, and I'll upload everything together because I'm recording this session today as well. What did you guys find difficult? John, let's start with you. Tell me, what's the most difficult thing for you?
Getting the acapella to warp the acapella to match the beat and stuff.
So you're still warping?
Warping, I can kind of get it, but I try to match it together with the beat. Where to place the part. I got a bit of difficulty on that.
Okay, for this you need to go back to your DJing. Like, let's say for example, if I have a track which is an acapella, and you gotta literally mix it with the beat, and you don't know where the BPM stands for that track, right? So what you
The
do?
BPM I got it from record box, so I just match it
Exactly.
accordingly.
Okay, and yet warping is a little bit tough. I
Yeah,
can understand.
because the one that I did was the song, the verse was more than 8 bars, so I was like trying to match it together with the set.
Okay, we'll work on that. Pin, what did you find difficult?
Me, like just kind of not sure whether to walk every single beat, because when I on the metronome, actually like some parts it actually goes well, like it's on beat, then suddenly it drifts apart. So sometimes I don't really know whether do I need to walk every single beat, or do I just wait for it to drift apart, then I align it a bit more.
Okay.
Then another issue is sometimes vocal tracks, they tend to come in like a split second earlier than the actual first beat of the grid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have a bit of issues, like sometimes trying to identify like should my walk marker be at this point or slightly later.
Yeah. So this is where your rhythm comes into play. You see, when you're dancing, sometimes you go 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you're actually a professional dancer, sometimes they even start with a 4. 4, 1, 2, 3. You know, it's like that. So you really need to. I mean, it's practice, lah. It's practice. To my knowledge, it's practice. The more you do it, the more you walk tracks, the more you get used to. It's kind of like DJing and pitch bending. You know how we initially didn't know how to pitch bend, but then after we practiced it, we knew how to pitch bend. Now, for example, if I throw 2 tracks at you and without your computer, you would just use your ears and then kind of like understand. That's exactly what we are going to do with warping as well. Sometimes you don't look at the numbers or the count. You really need to go with what you hear, because you can, anyone sings in, except for the retro songs, anyone that is probably produced after the 90s will always sing on a metronome. It'll always be on point. So when we feel like it's off, I know it does feel like it's off sometimes, but then again, we got to go with our guts and like 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as it's, on beat, it's quite okay. Dano, how about you? What did you feel like? What was the toughest part for you? Dano?
I'm here. I'm just thinking because
Is it also warping?
not really. I think I figured out like I don't have to warp everything. I just cut where I think it's out of line to match it together. So I didn't look at the marker at all. Neither did I follow the metronome.
Good. But
so
you got
I just
it done.
Cut them, then I just shift them accordingly, just so that they are on point. Then when I play them, then they sound okay. Then all is good for me. Yeah.
Perfect. See, now she used her ears instead of the numbers and the grids always. You get it? Because when she sent me her assignment, it is spot on. So sometimes you have to not always look at BPMs and metronomes and stuff like that. Sometimes you gotta go with your ears, your gut feeling. It's just like DJing, exactly like DJing. Sometimes, our grids will say, hey, this is how it is, but we know, hey, no, it's not right. It's a bit off. So we would pitch bend it forward or backwards. You get it? And this always happens to us, especially with hip hop songs or rock, especially rock. You know, some of the roles, they feel a bit off, but then we know when to pitch, we know when to pitch bend it, plus or minus. It's like that. Okay, so everyone else got it okay? Yeah, Kevin, Gabe, you guys okay with the assignments?
I struggled with the vocals because I was too stubborn to change to find another vocal track, and I wanna have a rock track in my thing. Then I struggled taking off the excess what um the
The
excess
frequencies and the field, yeah.
yeah, yes, yeah.
Actually, your job was good. Your assignment was really dope. What you did was really, really good. But then again, in this class, you are kind of like experienced. You get it. You already worked with it. You've already done like a bit of production, and you know audio engineering. And for you, it's way more easier than Dano, John, and Pin. So for you, Gabe and Jazzy, you guys have some form of knowledge in this field. For you, I wouldn't expect you guys to anyways find it hard to do these kind of things. By now, you should be able to do it. You get it? So what we're trying to do is bring the others up to speed as well, to try and get the basics done before we get into production. But that's when once we get into production, we will get into like what you said, you know, the frequencies, and that's quite in depth. It's quite in depth. Understanding frequencies according to spectrums is something that I myself am. It's really thorough. I myself am still learning, but I'm trying to I'm getting better. The more I make music, the more I start to understand. Okay, this kick and this sub has a sound clash. So basically, each kick has a certain frequency, and there's a sub bass that has frequency. So we'll need to notch those certain frequencies down. So we'll get into that in our advanced classes. Yeah. For now, let's just go back to the basic. All right, guys. Commencing class today, session 7. Uh, um, First of all, I'm very proud of all of you guys. Yeah, your progress is really good. So don't get me wrong, you guys are really tremendous when it comes to this. I love the enthusiasm. Okay, so I've got this project that I'm working on, and it's called Somewhere Over the Rainbow with this lady called Wendy. She's one of Kevin Keegan's friends. So Kevin Keegan linked me up with her, said, hey, why don't you guys make a song? So she came and met me with Keegan a few weeks ago before the lockdown. So we started doing a track. The track's almost complete, it's done. But I thought let's work on that as a project for our classes as well, because I want to get your rendition of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have stems exported to you. I'm going to put it all onto a Dropbox, send you the stems. Now, it's very simple. The project file is at 70 BPM. So when you drag and drop the entire track onto your project file, onto your arrangement layout, you got to make sure your master is set to 70 BPM. And once you drag and drop the track, you will have to go to the individual track and check if it is set at 70 BPM, because if it is not, then you got to unwarp it. You get it? So like if it is now over here, can you see it's unwarped? So if I'm warping it, I will make sure it's 70 BPM. You get it? So make sure it's 70 BPM, because if you just unwarp it, then it doesn't matter, because it's the original speed of the song, the original tempo of the track, and the command will obviously follow the master tempo, which is 70 BPM. So we're going to work with a 70 BPM track. I'm going to export a couple of stems for you. First of all is this main vocals, which is her a cappella. Somewhere over the rainbow. Yeah, she's a very good singer. She's a cappella singer. And then the second stem I'm going to send is a harmony that I played with my plugins. It's a vocoder harmony, which I use for most of my tracks. That's why you guys might be hearing these haunting angelic sounds in some of my tracks. They're all, people don't sing it, it's me playing it. Sounds like this. Okay, that, and then the third sample would be the piano. And the fourth sample would be strings, which is violin. And then the fifth sample is a synth, which I created again. I'll show you how I created the synth. And the sixth sample, which is kick. For now, I just laid out the kicks just on equal proportions, just like laid it out, just at every one beat. So if you play it with the metronome, and then I've added the snare at every 2. So kicks at every 1 and 3, snares at every 2 and 4, and hi-hats in between them. That's the arrangement for now, because we're just starting things up. So these are the drums. This is the string. That's the synth, I mean, this is the string. This is the piano. Alright, so this is all on audio format. But what we're going to do is we need to create a bass line. Now to create a bass line, I need to create a MIDI because I can actually drag a sample bass line. Now, anything that any artist or musician would ask me, first of all, is when I send these stems over, is like, which key is the song on? Now, there are many ways to identify keys. One way which I identify, if someone sends me a track, when I ask, and if that person say, oh, don't know, then I would say, okay, let me just check. So I use this app called Song Key Finder. So it's a very simple app. You just play the track, scan live, and it actually tells you the key of the song. So that way you could do that. Or else you could take the melody or the piano part of the song, drag and drop it to your record box. And then the record box will tell you which key the song is in once you analyze it. Now, by knowing this track is on D, I can easily grab a sample bass line which is on D. Now there are many apps, there are many sites where you can, or plugins that you can download different bass lines from and then use it onto this. But in this case, we don't want to, for this exercise here today, I want you guys to create your own bass line. But I'm going to show you how to do it with Ableton stock basically sounds itself. So first thing I got to do is I'm going to take the simplest melody of this structure that I have, which is basically a synth which I have created in various keys. If you look at it, what I've done is, now we're just going to play the synth, yeah? Now this is the synth. Now this is the second one. Now this is the third one. And this is the fourth. Now you might notice that it varies in the tone. Basically the keys shift. So if I play the first one, which is, and then the second one, and then the third, you might be noticing a little bit of a change in it. Why? Because I am using my transpose to basically bring it down. So the first is transposed as 0. Let's keep it at complex. The second is transposed at -1. And the third is at -3. So that's doing, so what I'm doing is changing the key of the song. Key of the tone, the synth. So it goes from 0 transpose to -1, -3, then -5. The one that follows is -7, then -8, -10, -12, and then repeat again. -12 means it's in 1 octave below. So this is 1 octave lower than this. So this is D, and this is D. in a lower octave. So here we go. When we play it with the a cappella together, you'll notice that now, don't ask me how I did it because I don't play music. I don't know what notes are. I honestly don't. I'm not a musician. I always tell you guys. But what I do is I listen to the song playing over and over. So for example, let's say everything was the same key. This is the synth. This is the sample that I've taken. So it's the same sample. So what I did was I played the first, and then the second, I go there, and I try to bring it down one and see if it goes with it. Okay, and the third one doesn't, then I bring it. So if it is, you get it? I kind of like figure it out by playing myself, and it takes me a lot of time because, to be honest, if I could actually play the tracks like Jazzy does it, or I think Kevin or Echo, you guys all play instruments, then life would be very easy for me. But unfortunately, it is not. That's why I take so long to make a song, at least like one whole day for a song. If I could play tracks, I would make a song in like half an hour. Okay. So these are the stems. I'm going to send it over to you, yeah? Now, because this sample has already been shifted, the keys have been shifted to suit the song, I'm going to go to this entire segment, this block, and I'm going to consolidate it. You guys know what consolidate does. It just makes it one clip. So, because I've already shifted the keys of the synth. And then what I'm going to do is some magic call. I right click it, and then I convert melody to MIDI track. Now you could convert the harmony to MIDI track. You could also convert the melody to MIDI track. When you convert it, remember that it only sends out a MIDI signal. So I'm going to convert it, click the melody, converting this entire track's melody to a MIDI signal now. So it takes a little bit of time, but then it does it. Once it's done, it'll appear on the lower segment of it, and you'll see that it's very clearly, there's a pattern in it. You see now, if you enlarge it, unlike your audio tracks, it actually gives you a MIDI signal, which now takes us to MIDI. Now, just because I play, if I solo this and play, you see it won't sound good because when you convert melody to MIDI, it automatically brings in a very random piano sound, but it doesn't actually give you the exact sound that you want. So what I want is, I want it to be more synthy and bassy, because here we are trying, our objective is to try to create a bass line. So I'm going to drag this. It's like drawing. So you're going to drag everything, all the signals one by one, delete. It's the same as you use your audio wave formats when you're at the arrangement level. You got to drag it from the side and extend it. So drag it. You see, when this little marker comes up like a square, then you drag it. If you want to delete it, you highlight the things you don't want, you delete it, and then you drag it, and now you could also go here to the pen tool at the upper right corner, and then you can start drawing MIDIs. So you could just draw like that, and then you could just drag it. That's also another way to do it. But since we have converted this entire thing into a MIDI, we don't need that. So we're just going to go with the same things. Whatever we have, okay, so I'm just going to drag all of these guys and make them all one, because they don't always give you the best results when you convert it into MIDI immediately. So you have to work with it a bit. So copy all of this, copy, and then go to this bar over here and then paste it, so it's kind of like duplicated. We're going to delete this one guy over here. We should be okay now. Now if you play it, it'll sound bad because it's still not the synth that we want, but it's at least in key and it's in one shot. So then what we're going to do is, now our idea is not to create another piano, because we've already got piano. What we wanted was to create a bass line. Now this is a basic structure of how the notes are formed on this certain song. So we're going to go back to our segment where we have our browser, and then over there we're going to use something that we've never used before, which is basically called instruments. Now instruments is basically working on MIDI signals. So the instrument folder has a lot of bass, drums, synthesizer. Whatever you drag and drop into your MIDI signal now will basically play according to that. So like, let's say if I get a bass line, this is my bass. So if I drag and drop it onto my MIDI, onto my arrangement over here, so you'll hear it basically have that same. Now, why is it, even though I dragged in a bass instrument into it, why does it sound like a synth? Can anyone tell me that? Why does it sound like a flute? No one knows it? Okay, because it's in a higher octave. It's at D4 over here. But what we got to do is we got to drag all of these guys, and in order to make it bassy, we got to bring it to a lower octave. So let's bring it to like D, D1. I think D2 should be okay. D2. Okay. Now my idea of bass is more sort of okay, that's a little bit scary. Now you could also go search. Now I want to use an 808, so I'm just going to go 808. Oh, sorry, 808 bass sub. Okay, that sounds good. Drag and drop it onto this. Now it should be more sort of a. Still sounds weird because it's in a higher octave. We're going to drag it and bring it down to a low octave. Maybe a little bit more lower. Okay, D0 is nice. Whoa, can you hear that? That's damn cool. Wow. Okay, so this is sub bass. Now 808 basses basically give you a very low frequency that's around 70 hertz to 150 hertz. It's not basically heard by a normal headphone or earpiece. You need actually subwoofers like in a club to hear it, or good sound system. You can't hear it very clearly. So let's just keep it simple. Let's not go to a very low octave to get the sub sound. We'll just bring it for this exercise. We'll just take it up so that we can at least hear it. Maybe D1. Okay, so now what I can do is I can go to, I got an 808 over there. So that's kind of like going to give me that sub frequency that I need. And we're going to go to our kicks, which is just below that. Can you guys hear the sub? You see the sub basically changes with key.
Yep, can hear.
Okay, so now what I want to do is I have a sub which is giving me the lowest frequency of the bass, but I also want a low mid range, which is a different bass line. So to do that, I'm going to duplicate the sub bass. I'm just going to click, you got to go onto your channel over here, which says sub 808, and then you're just going to go right click it and then duplicate. Once you duplicate it, it just creates another sub bass. But instead of sub bass, I just want a different type of bass, maybe analog bass or something like that. Let's check what basses we have over here. So we got like. Now remember, I'm thinking of something that is more mid-range bass, yeah? Actually, this analog bass sounds quite okay. I'm just going to drag that guy out so that we don't waste time. So now you could hear the sub bass and the analog bass will layer over it. So if I play them together, you see, you can actually hear, and the sub will sustain it. is much more bassy, but you can also hear it. Now you got two bass lines that basically gives you two different frequencies and covers a larger spectrum of the lower end, which ideally we need when we play a track. We can always have like a sub bass, and people put it in their earphones, and you won't hear the sub bass on your just normal $20 earplugs. So you need really good like Beats by Dre or something like that. But when you play it at a club, the sub frequency comes out. It makes you feel like, whoa, we want to dance. So that is why we give a low mid frequency bass as well. So two bass lines usually layer each other. Now I could also be a little bit more experimental and recreate this over here. Instead of one, maybe I copy this guy, and so, and now it will go to doom. So like that. So maybe bring it a bit here before this guy comes in, like that. Let's see how this sounds. Yeah, maybe this guy like that.
Somehow I can't hear the second part that is pushing towards the front.
Yeah, I think because it's overlaying it. Okay, let me check. Hold up. Okay, let's do that later because I need to create another. Okay, so basic, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a baseline. That's what you guys gonna do. I want you guys to be creative with whatever you guys can, but follow the basic principles. You have to create. I will send you this stem. Then you will right click it, convert it into melody, convert the melody into a MIDI. And then once the MIDI is created, then you drag and drop out of your instruments certain bass line. And then I want you to choose whichever bass line you guys want, however it is, but as long as it's prominent. You could layer two basses to make it sound nice. So now let's just like play everything together, see how it sounds. Much better with a nice bass. Now, the other thing that we're going to do within our project is instead of having a monotonous kick and a snare, I want you to actually think about being creative when it comes to how you're going to place the kicks and snares. The kicks and snares have to be more sort of like it's actually creativity. See guys, this is where your creativity matches your technicality. Now, technicality is what I'm teaching you guys. I'm teaching you guys how to use the interface, but being creative is completely up to you. Now, if you want to create a drummer, like a drum beat as a drummer, you got to think like a drummer. You got to think of, okay, so if I'm playing the track like a doom, tap, doom, tap, doom, doom, tap, 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 tap. Now, technically, you know how to place it, but it will take time for you guys to practice it. So if I were to, instead of having this random pattern, let's change it. So I would do doom, tap, 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 something like that. So I would do it. So I'll take this and place it here, then copy this guy and place him here. Now this comes with experience, guys, where you know how to place your snares and kicks. And this guy, I will copy him and place him here. Yeah, like that. So I'll go to copy this guy here, put him here. Increase this guy's volume a little bit and this guy's volume. So listen to it. You see there's a swing. Doom, ting, tap, doom, ting, tap. But I want another hi-hat here. So I'm gonna copy this hi-hat, and so let's see how it goes. So let's do this guy a little bit off. I want him a little bit off to see how it sounds now. Tick-tock. tuck, so maybe copy this guy and put him here. Boom, tuk. Copy him here, put him here. Maybe move this guy a little bit like that. So you get what I mean, yeah? That's up to you. I'll leave it up to you how to be creative with it. So I want you to change kicks, snares, hi-hats, and place it that it will have swing. Now you have to understand, you can't just like do it randomly and then just leave it go all over the place. It has to have a consistency. So if I'm doing this for about 4 bars, the same 4 bars will be copied and taken. Let's do this together. Okay, wait, we have 5 more minutes so we can do the beats.
Question: anybody's visual and audio is not matched?
Really?
Mine.
There's a little
The
bit of
visual-
delay?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lag for me. I can't.
The visual comes first, then the audio.
Yeah, I'm like trying to memorize.
So let's just do this. Copy these guys here, the whole thing here. And then duplicate the whole thing. Now let's see how it sounds. So I'm just going to command D the same thing. All right. So we kind of like got a pattern, but obviously this is not going to be my end pattern. Of course, I want to change it, but I'll, because like sometimes I like to use like double hi-hats instead of single. So like if I'm going over here, I would probably give it like a very close hi-hat tail like this. So it makes it very, you see that gives it a little bit more swing, and then place those guys at every change point. So like this, that's here, then over here, and then place him for one more here. So every four count, the guy kind of like keeps on changing, and then place it here at this 2 as well. Like that. So I think you guys get it, yeah? So drumming, I'm going to leave it up to you. So you only got to work with 8 bars. This is all you got to do. You don't have to do more. Let's go from the beginning.
I got a question.
Yeah, ask me.
Was it can we play around with the lyrics, or the lyrics must be standardized like that?
Oh no, you can do it as well. If you want to experiment it, experiment it. I'm going to send you guys 6 stems, which is the vocal, vox main, vox harmony, piano, strings, the synth, and the kick, snare, hi-hat. But the kick, snare, hi-hat, I'll just send you the individual stem. If you guys want to bring in your own kick, snare, hi-hat, that's up to you. But for this assignment, I want you to kind of like, work together. Guys, this is going to cut off, so I'm going to save this and I'm going to re-invite you guys to another meeting, yeah, because we are not yet done. So I'm going to schedule another meeting. What's the time now? Okay, I'm going to send it to 8:40
Okay.
8:40 p.m. 8:40 p.m. to 9:10 9:20 should be okay.
Just to check, are we constrained to the BPM? Or can we just play around with how fast or how slow?
You can, but I think we'll just do a 70 BPM thing for this thing because I want to kind of like, get everyone's best output of this. So to make it fair to everyone else, just like yeah, because others would find it a bit hard to again be warping it and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, I was planning to double up on it.
Oh yeah, you could do that. Yeah, you could do that.
Just
if you
double
want
up
make
to
it 140.
140.
Yeah, that's fine.